הלכות שבת, פרק ט"ז הלכה א', מקום שלא הוקף לדירה, אלא שיהיה תשמישו לעבר. So we're dealing here with a law where, okay, you have an outside area, and the outside area has 4 walls around it. It's considered the Shutei Achid. It has 4 walls, right? But there is a certain derabanan law here. If the 4 walls were not placed there for habitation purposes, right? So, for example, there's no roof there. Obviously, people don't live under the open sky. So that's considered shehukaf shelo leshem dira. So when you put the walls over there, it wasn't for habitation because human beings don't live in open sky. Kiron, ginot, vegetable patches, ufardesim, orchards, uchron, hamakif, makom min haaretz leshomro. Or you just have some property, real estate, and you don't want people squatting there. So you put a fence around the property. Any similar situation. If the walls are at least 10 tefachim high, which is the minimum for Reshutei Achid, right? This is considered the Reshutei Achid. So that's it. And therefore, if you take something from that Reshut to Reshut Rabim or vice versa, Hayab, Yisur Deoraita. But because Ukaf Shelo Leshem Dira, the Hachamim made a special rule, since it wasn't built up for the purposes of habitation, it's treated like a Karmelit. ואין מטלטלים בכולו, אלא אם כן יש בו בית סתיים או פחות. אבל אם היה בו יותר על בית סתיים, אסור לטלטל בו אלא ב400 כקרמלית. It's treated like a karmelit, but only if it's greater than bet satayim. Meaning, if the area circumscribed by the walls is a bet satayim, which is 50 amot by 100 amot, right? 5,000 amot. Each se'ah is 2,500 amot. Bet satayim is double that. So it's area of 5,000 amot or less. Even though the walls were put up shelo leshem dira, you're allowed to carry there. It's a regular Reshutei Achid. When do we say that we have this special rabbinic humrah, let's call it, where no, you cannot carry there. You only can carry arba amot, just like in the Karmelit, you can only carry arba amot. Here you can only carry arba amot if it's greater than bet satayim. If it's greater than 5,000 square amot, which I believe is 2,500 square yards. So if you have an area of 2,500 square yards, like 25 yards by 100 yards, I believe that would be the correct calculation, then you would be allowed to carry there. But if it's greater than 2,500 square yards, let's just stick with amot since that I'm sure of. If it's greater than 5,000 amot, you can only carry up to 4 amot within that area. It could be also a elevated area. It doesn't have to be a fenced area. It could be a platform. That's the condition has to be that it has to be 10 tefachim high, because the minimum height for Reshutei Achid is 10 tefachim. If the width is bet satayim, again 5,000 square amot, then you can carry there. But if this area is greater than bet satayim, as we said, in that case you can only carry pachot midaled amot. Similarly, you have some of these beaches where you have the water and it's kind of shallow, and then you have like these stones under the water. It's like kind of slippery because it has algae growing on it. So that's a sela shebayam. היה גבוה פחות מ10. Let's say you have these stones and the measure from the top of the stone to the sand on the bottom of the water is less than 10 tefachim. היה גבוה פחות מ10. מטלטלים מתוכו לים ומנהים לתוכו. Then you're allowed to carry from that stone, there's a slippery protrusion, into the ocean, and from the ocean into that stone. Shakol Kalmelit, because it's all Kalmelit. Why is it Kalmelit? Because if we said the Sela is less than 10 tefachim high, and if it's less than 10 tefachim high, assuming it's a minimum of 4 by 4 tefachim high, it's a Kalmelit. Hayagabo Asara, but if it's 10 tefachim high, now this Sela becomes a Reshutei Yachid. Im Rochbo, and technically, you're not allowed to carry from Reshutei Yachid to a Kalmelit. The ocean is a Kalmelit. The stone protrusion inside the ocean is a Reshutei Yachid. You can't carry from Reshutei Yachid to Kalmelit. Right? אם רוחבה מארבעת טפחים על בית סתיים, הוא אין מותר לטלטל בכולו, הם מטלטלים לא מתוכו לים ולא מן הים לתוכו. Right? So it can be even this sela, could be this stone protrusion could be very wide. It could be up to 5,000 amot wide. Imagine this huge stone protrusion, empty, abandoned ocean, right? You can carry on the stone protrusion because it's a Reshut Hayahid, but now you can't carry from the stone protrusion to the water because the stone protrusion is a Reshut Hayahid and the water is a Kalmelit, right? Now, we said that there's special rabbinic humrah that if it's greater than Bet Satayim, it's treated like a Kalmelit. So even though you're not allowed to carry from that area to Reshut Rabim and vice versa, that would be a Hayav Deoraita, right? But here the stone protrusion is inside the ocean, and the ocean is a Kalmelit. Now once the Hachamim decided to treat this area which is greater than Bet Satayim, the stone protrusion, assuming it's like 100 amot by 51 amot, it's greater than Bet Satayim, right? Now the Hachamim said, even though this is a Reshut Yachid, we're going to treat it like Kalmelit. So since they treat it like Kalmelit, they say you can carry from the stone protrusion to the ocean. But how can you do that? Really, it's a Reshut Yachid, and you can't carry from Reshut Yachid to Kalmelit. So how can you say that this stone protrusion, which is really a Reshut Yachid, you can carry from it to the ocean? And the answer is the whole law of Kalmelit is the Rabbanan. Hem Amru vehem Amru. Since the Hachamim are the ones who established that you can't carry from Reshut Yachid to Kalmelit, they're the ones who said so. But now they're saying that this Reshut Yachid, we're going to treat it like a Kalmelit, because you can only carry up to Arba Amot on top of the stone protrusion, not greater. So now we're going to make another Kula. We'll make a Kula to counterbalance the Humrah. The Humrah was you can't carry more than Daled Amot on this stone protrusion. The Kula is, well, if we're treating it like a Kalmelit, then you should be able to carry from the stone protrusion to the ocean, right? And that's the point. So tell me Bet Satayim, since we're making a Humrah and we're saying you can only carry up to 4 amot, but not more than 4 amot, so Hachamim made a Kullah on the other end, that you can carry from this stone protrusion, although technically it's a Reshut Yachid, you should not be allowed to carry from it to the ocean, which is Kalmelit, but they'll allow you to carry from the stone protrusion to the ocean. It's davar she'eno masui v'lo gazru bo. Hachamim lo gazru bedavar she'eno masui. Really? How many times do you have a situation where a person needs to carry something from a stone protrusion in the ocean to the ocean itself? Davar she'eno masui. So Hachamim mekelu badavar. Hem amru v'hem amru. Halacha Gimel. Kama hi bet se'ah, I already explained the size of a bet se'ah, which said if it's up to a bet se'ah, it's treated as a regular Reshut Yachid, even though kaf shelo l'shem dira. Even though when the walls were put around not for the purposes of habitation. How much is that? So how much is a bet se'ah? I'm sorry, bet se'ah is half of that. 50 amma. That's the minimum. That's 25 yards by 25 yards. 50 amot by 50 amot. So how much is double? 2 se'ot. Bet satayim means 2 se'ot. מקום שיש בשיבורו 5,000 אמה. So it's not 2,500 אמות, it's 5,000 אמות, right? Double. בכל מקום שיש בו כמידה הזו, בין שהיה מרובע, שהוא 70 ושיריים על 70 ושיריים, בין שהיה עגול, בין שהיה לסולות, על זה נקרא בית סתיים. So בית סתיים doesn't matter what the shape is. Meaning, it's considered, when we decide or determine whether something is a bet satayim or not, it's determined by the area. And if it's greater than bet satayim, and hukav shelo leshem dira, right? Those are the two conditions. Again, if the area is greater than 5,000 amot, and also when the walls were put around it, they weren't put for purposes of habitation, that area is considered a karmelit. מקום שלא הוקף לדירה שיש בו בית סתיים. אם היה אורכו כשניים ברוחבו, כדי שיהיה מעל 50 כחסר למשכן, מוטל תתה בכולו. Now, so there's two categories. If it's less than בית סתיים, less than 5,000 square amot, you can carry there. Even though הוקף שלא לשם דירה. If it's greater than בית סתיים, you may not carry there unless hukaf leshem dira, for example, that has a roof and it's for habitation. If it's exactly bet satayim, you can carry there, even though hukaf shelo leshem dira, but there's an extra condition. It has to be shaped like the Hasana Mishkan. The Hasana Mishkan was 100 long by 50 wide. In that case, and that's exactly bet satayim, right? In that case, you can carry there. But if the shape deviates such that the length is greater than 100 amot, in which case obviously the width would be less than 50 amot, right? If it's exactly bet satayim, again you can carry there even though hukaf shelo leshem dira, but the length can't be more than twice the width. That's a special law. So makom shelo hukaf לדira שיש בו בית סתיים. אם היה אורכו כשניים ברוחבו, if the length is exactly twice the width, or even a little less. כדי שיהיה מעל 50 כחסר למשכן, מוטל תתה בכולו, that's allowed to carry there, even though הוקף שלא לשם דירה. אבל אם היה אורכו יתר על שלהם ברוחבו, אפילו אמה אחת, הם מטלטלים בו אלא ב400. But if as I said, the length is a little greater than twice the width, then you cannot carry there. You can only carry up to 400 if it's הוקף שלא לשם דירה. Because remember, אם הוקף לשם דירה, then there's no problem. The whole problem here is שהוקף שלא לשם דירה. שלא עשו בית סתיים שתשמישו לעבר כשהחסרות, אלא מחסר המשכן. Because the only reason we allow you to carry in a bet satayim, which is open to the sky, is because we learned from Hasan Mishkan, which is open to the sky. So the same way you're able to carry in Hasan Mishkan, you can carry in this bet satayim. But that's on condition that the shape is similar to the shape of Hasan Mishkan. So the length can be up to twice the width, but not greater than twice the width.